So cold. How am I going to stay warm this winter? Oh, Old Granddad 114. That'll do. Look at this gigantic, cheap-looking plastic topper and this huge cork. How many normal corks had to die so that this monstrosity could live? And look at the huge mouth on this bottle, like it was designed by a salad dressing company. Honestly though, when I get old and I begin to lose my eyesight, I'm gonna be glad for this bottle. It'll be easy to recognize, and I'm less likely to grab a tall bottle and pour myself a glass of vodka or something. I guess that's a plus. In all sincerity, this is one of my weekly drinkers. I do reach for this bottle several times a week. If you don't know anything about this bottle, this is Old Granddad 114. 114 because of the proof point of 114. It is aged about 4 to 5 years most likely. Priced at just $29, though I got this bottle for $24. You can find it in the mid-20s a lot of the time. This bottle is distilled by Jim Beam, and you know, I told a friend that I was drinking this the other day, and when I told him it was Jim Beam, he was horrified, and he rolled his eyes so hard that he had to sit down for about 5 minutes because he's a whiskey snob. Don't be a whiskey snob, because you're gonna pass up great bourbons and great values like this one. Sure, this is bottom shelf bourbon. I'm the one who bent his big ass over to get this off the bottom shelf, but I'll tell you what, this bottle is worth bending over for. What Old Granddad is a comfort blanket on a cold day. Let's try a metaphor. Let's say it's the mid-90s and your parents have been arguing and they send you to go live with your grandma for a while. You get there and she's just started dating again, and there's an older gentleman who keeps coming around, and every time he shows up, he gives you a little trinket. And while you're looking at your trinket, you glance up and grandma's bedroom door is closing, and then you hear it lock, and you sort of resent this guy at first. 20 years later, you look in a box and you find those trinkets and you really treasure them now, and you realize that guy was making grandma happy all that time and he never once asked for anything in return from you, and that's Old Granddad 114 to me. What am I rambling about? Okay, so forget all that. Let's let this whiskey speak for itself. I'm gonna get into the nose now. The first impression is lots of spice. Cinnamon spice, rye spice, maybe some orange spice. A lot of spice, but it also has a balanced sweetness. I'm getting brown sugar, and for 114 proof, the nose is not offensive at all. I've had 100 proofers with a lot more alcohol on the nose than this. It's just very warm and welcoming, and I'm freezing, so let's have a sip. Cheers. On the palate, cinnamon, fruit, and heat, of course. It's not very complex, but it is bold. It reminds me of maybe cinnamon chewing gum, but on steroids. Let's have another sip and see what else we find. If I didn't know any better, I might think this was Wild Turkey 101, but the proof sort of pushes that idea out of your head pretty quickly. The fruit I'm getting on the palate is really bright. It reminds me of some of the higher proof ryes out there, maybe a Pikesville or something like that. Let's go for one more sip and see if we find any other flavors. There's really nothing new to report after the third sip. This is a good session bottle when you want to sit down and really enjoy your bourbon. It commands your attention. It would be difficult to mindlessly enjoy this one. Let's take one more sip and we'll get on to the finish. So this finish is really long lasting, and it just sort of continuously builds. It's definitely not going anywhere. It almost reminds me of those little hot cinnamon candies. They're a little bit sweet at first, but the prevailing flavor is all cinnamon. That's what I'm getting here, is that warm, sweet cinnamon that continuously builds, and this finish just keeps going. So I think we need to talk value. I'm not sure who the competition is for this bottle. You can regularly find this bottle in the mid $20 range. That's bonkers for a high proof bourbon with this much flavor. If you like higher proof bourbons and haven't tried this is definitely worth your time. And if you're not that fond of high proof bourbon, but you want to give this one a shot, and you pour it and it's too hot for you, it's really nothing that an ice cube or a splash of water couldn't fix. I have to say, I prefer this bottle over some $40 bottles I've tried recently, and I bet that this would top some $50 bottles that I've got on the shelf. It's rich, it's bold, and it's perfect for those nights when you have no place to go and nothing else commanding your attention. Ultimately, this is a really good bottle for an affordable price. Let us know if you've tried this bottle and what you thought of it. Also, if you have another high proof bottle that you prefer to this one, particularly if it's a budget bottle, let us know. As always, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to our videos so that you never miss one. I'm gonna get back to this glass so that I can warm up a little bit more. From wherever we are to wherever you are, cheers.